Alright, so we got another super budget 5-inch FPV quad from Tcmmrc. This is called the TX220, kind of a generic QAV style 5-inch freestyle frame here. Nothing particularly special about the frame. The thing that's going to be most notable about this particular product is the price is coming in currently at 86 something, like $87. So I made a video last year, one of my more popular videos. It's actually on this guy, and actually I've converted it already. So this is after about 4 videos. I think it was originally called the $88 quad or something like that. That's probably what it came out at that time. And it was one of my most popular videos of from a year ago, from June 2022. And a ton of you guys bought that quad. I guess, budget, inexpensive, cheap quads were in big time last year. Not so much. I'm not sure about this year. We'll see. But I did like 4 or 5 videos on this one where I converted it, or I did some tuning, and then I eventually converted it to DJI. So if you missed those videos, I'll link some of those down below. You can check it out. Yes, I still have it. The parts still work, but they've made some improvements over the year since then, and I'm going to point out some of the differences. Now, before I get into all the details of the quad itself, I do want to point out that Tcmmrc, on a lot of their quads, they are now offering different bundles. So you can of course still get it as a what they call plug and play, where you have to add your own receiver, which is what I did. I added an XM Plus receiver, and you can do that, and it's $86 and some change. Or you can get a bundle with the quad plus, I think it's the Radiomaster TX220 radio, so budget class beginner radio, and it's like $194, $195. And then you can get the bundle with the quad plus the Radiomaster TX220 and like I think it's an Eachine VR009 goggles, like a pretty generic analog goggle, and I think that bundle runs like $226. So yeah, if you got absolutely nothing and you're just starting out, this could be a way to go. Now they only sent me the quad, basically the plug and play, to test, so I can tell you about how the quad runs. In terms of the bundle, they did tell me that the radio and the goggles do come bound to the quad, and in the case of the receiver version on the other 2 bundles with the radio, it's actually an Express LRS receiver. I don't know which one it is. They didn't tell me, but instead of S-Bus and FreeSky, which is what I'm running here, those bundles will actually come with Express LRS, because the Radiomaster radio is the Express LRS version. So that's actually pretty nice. And so if you don't have a radio or goggles or anything, this might be a way to go. Not so sure about the goggles. The goggles are pretty cheap. Like, I think they're like $30-$40. If you don't want to go something of that route where it's might not work out for you, maybe get the bundle with the radio and then get a different set of goggles, maybe something a little bit higher end, and it's pretty easy to tune to the video transmitter. So that's another way you can go. So I do like the fact that they have those different bundles. So if you don't want the goggles, you can just get the quad and the radio, which is good. It comes pre-bound with Express LRS, and that's actually a really decently priced bundle. You get the radio and the quad for under $200. I don't think there's much out there that can beat that. If you know of anything out there that comes with a radio, an Express LRS radio with the receiver and the quad pre-bound, ready to fly, basically, just need goggles for under $200, I definitely would like to know where to get that, and let me know down in the comments below if you happen to know where that is. I would like specific information. I don't want a comment saying, yeah, it exists and you can get it in 5 different places, but I'm not going to tell you where you can get it at. That comment's completely useless to me and to everyone else, so please don't do that. I get some of those and it's pretty annoying. If there is a bundle out there, I definitely want to know about it, so maybe I can go and buy one and review that as well and compare it against this one. All right, so let's get into the details of the quad here. And so overall, I would have to say after a 1 year of time, for their their ultra budget option, this has improved in overall quality compared to the one that came out last year. So, well, let me try to sort of explain some of those, where I'm coming from with that. So first off, the motors are definitely better. The motors have like a smoother bearing, and so they just run a lot smoother than the ones from last year. You know, if you just look at the motor, you can't really tell much. It's branded Hum Quad. I have no idea what that is or who those guys are. It's a 2206 2450 kV motor, and obviously you can run on 4S on this set here. So the motor definitely, you know, it's nothing special. It's not super powerful or anything like that. The whinnies are, you know, so looking, nothing amazing. But the bearings do seem to be smoother, and they seem like they're solid motors compared to the ones that came out last year. And then the flight controller stack is definitely a huge improvement over the one I got last year. So the one last year is also 30 by 30, and you can see right there, it has a micro USB port, and it's got all these plugs that come on the side, and you can see like that. It was an okay board. I forget if it was an F411 or a 405, but this one here is an F405 and has a USB-C port. Overall, and then it has a pretty big like solder pads for, you know, if you want to solder stuff to, if you wanted to do stuff with this later, add a GPS or some other accessories. It should be fairly easy to expand this particular flight controller, so I felt like the flight controller was pretty good. The ESC is a 60 amp BLHeliS ESC. It does not come in BlueJ firmware, but it should be able to accept BlueJ firmware, and I'll talk more about that later at the end of the video. If you want me to do some sort of a upgrade video, I could possibly do that, if express your interest down below. But yeah, this is a much better in terms of rating compared to the one I got last year. This was 60 amps, and the one I think I got last year is 35 amps. Now granted, I'm not doing massive freestyle with this one, and so I haven't killed it yet, but it's 35 amps. I probably could kill it if I crashed a lot, but I haven't really been trying to do bando bashing or anything like this one. Is just more or less kind of a cruiser, and I figured people are getting something like this is probably just going to do something similar. If you're a hardcore flyer already, not sure why you're even clicking on the video, because this is obviously intended for people that are looking for something budget related. If you are a bando basher, you probably want to spend about, I don't know, maybe 6 to 7 times as much as this on a quad. So with like the top end parts, top end motors, the frame that's going to cost you $200. If you want that level of durability, that's kind of the money you need to spend, in my opinion, because durability does cost extra money. So if you came here looking for one of those super durable quads for under $90, sorry, this video is not for you, unfortunately. Now the video transmitter on this one is a 20 by 20, and it's in the back here, and it's got this, it's just got a whip antenna with UFL connectors. So obviously they've, this is one of the areas where they've cut costs. So you can definitely upgrade this to probably like one of those Rush FPV antennas for like $10, and then use like a 3D printed mount, something like this. Here's, this is like one of those Rush antennas with a UFL connector, and then you just mount it to the standoffs like this. So you can pick up one of these antennas. This is the left-hand polarized version for DJI, but they have a right-hand polarized version of this one for like $10, $11. You can pick it up in AliExpress. That's one thing that I would recommend upgrading. Now, I didn't fly too far away, and this video transmitter does go up to 300 milliwatts. On the smart audio setup, it says it goes up to 600, but I don't believe it does. And that's another thing, by the way. For the first time ever, Tcmmrc quad comes with a video transmitter set up with smart audio. and it's something I've complained about on all of the quads that I've gotten from them. They don't set up smart audio, but for whatever reason, they've changed that now, and now that works. So you can now change your video, VTX settings and power and channel via smart audio, which is, obviously a welcomed improvement. But yeah, like I said, this is a pretty simple upgrade. If you want to get a 3D printed part and then get one of those Rush antennas, you can probably do that and swap this out for not a huge cost. And then the other thing that probably I would recommend upgrading is the camera. The camera here is, I believe, the same sensor as the one from last year. It's a pretty generic camera. It's probably the cheapest one they can find out there. I bet they're probably sourcing these from I forget the name of the company that makes these, but their wholesale price is like $1, I believe, or $2, so it's super cheap. And the lens is like 2.8 millimeter. I believe the lens is a little bit different. I think slightly wider now than last year's, but still pretty narrow compared to most FPV cameras. And this is a fairly simple upgrade. And probably what I would do is maybe like pick up like a Foxeer or Caddx. They probably run maybe like $20 these days. Now I did recommend last year upgrading the lens for like $10. So for $20, I think for like $10 more, for $20, I would just upgrade the whole camera. The image quality in this one is not the best. So obviously, that's another area where they cut some costs to, put out a 5-inch quad. It's flyable, but I would say marginally, like it's kind of, for me, like barely passes. I think that if I wanted to fly more aggressively, I would need something with a wider field of view lens for sure. I can fly with it. If you're just cruising around, I would say it's fine for that. But if you're going to be doing a little bit more freestyle or flying through gaps and stuff like that, you may want something a little bit better. And you can see in the footage here that I am flying through trees and I am able to do it, but I don't feel as comfortable as I could be with a better camera. But then again, the really good cameras are going to cost you like $50. So, it's like this is a $88 or $89 or what is it, $87 quad. I'm not sure how many people will want to put a $50 camera into an $87 quad. So it really kind of depends on how much more money you want to invest in this. As it is flyable, but it could be better. The PID tune on here is like the stock Betaflight, like basically a no PID tune. It's 4.2.9. The flight controller, they said, can take iNav in addition to Betaflight and something called ABX. I'm not sure what ABX is. I think it might be like Ardu Pilot or something like that, but not 100% sure on that one. But definitely iNav was listed as one of the other flight controllers versions that could work on this flight controller, or software that can work on this flight controller. So yeah, if you're looking to maybe upgrade this to iNav, you can do that on this particular board. But again, it's just a stock Betaflight tune. It needs to be tuned to, if you look at the footage here, you can see I'm doing some little flips and rolls, and it's getting a lot of bounce back. So basically, the P and D gains are too low for this particular hardware setup out of the box. It just needs an adjustment. Probably, if you want the super simple solution for this PID tune, is just bump up the master multiplier a little bit. But actually, I think about it, that doesn't exist on 4.2.9. So you probably want to do like an upgrade to 4.4 and then just bump up the master multiplier like a half a step or 0.1, something like that. That'll probably fix the bounce back problems. If you want me to do a full tuning video like I did on the one from last year, again, leave me some comments down below. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I think, I'm going to leave it here in terms of this video. If you want to see additional content, tuning video, upgrades video, in terms of like swapping out the camera, swapping out the antenna in the back, 3D printer parts, whatever it is that you think that could improve this, let me know down in the comments below, and based on how much interest there is, I could come back with those additional videos, and I'll probably put those on my second channel. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below what level of interest there is in doing those additional upgrades and stuff like I did on the model from last year. And based on that feedback, I'll take a look at that and see if it's worth the time to spend any more time on this particular quad. And especially if you definitely are going to be buying it, let me know. And then if you want those things, in terms of the upgrade videos, that kind of stuff, I'll take that into account. Anyway, that's going to cover for this video on this model. Got any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. That would really help out the channel. And that'll do it for this video. Talk to you guys in the next one.